So y'all already know what this is. Before I tell you any more, let's go ahead and check out this crazy collection. This video is brought to you by Squarespace. All right, here we go. So we've got this big ass briefcase right here. For some reason, the code on this briefcase is 420, but we'll get into that at some other time. Scott, who will not be shown, can you open this for me? What is in here?
Yeah, so in here we got a little collection of some Hasselblads.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. When was the last time this guy used?
I don't know, a few years ago. I've been kind of rusty.
So whose is this? How'd you get your hands on this amazing package?
Yeah, my grandfather unfortunately passed away, and I inherited his collection. He was a studio photographer, and he had a lot of different studio cameras, and I got a whole box of other filters and stuff, but he really got into it, and I've used them quite a bit, but kind of moved more to digital lately.
And he was a Hasselblad guy, or he shot with other stuff, you know?
He's a big Hasselblad guy. I had some Leicas, but I got the Hasselblads in it.
Who got the Leicas?
My uncle got the Leicas.
Oh, I think you gotta go inherit that too. So what do we got? We got 4 bodies in here.
Yeah.
We got some like auto wind motor stuff right here. We got these accessories. What are these things? Like lens extenders and shit like that?
These are actually lenses. Yeah, there's quite a
lens.
few lenses, and
that's awesome.
Different ones. I think all the greatest hits. This is like the Pentaprism viewfinder, and yeah, just that's the main stuff. But a bunch of different lenses. I mean, awesome kit to inherit. Done a lot with it. It's been awesome.
It looks like it's in amazing condition. They're like, they got no blemishes on them. They're shiny. This case definitely helped too, keeping things nice and secure. All right, well, any plans for these cameras?
I'm thinking of selling them.
Ooh.
I haven't really been using it, and I feel guilty, and I want someone to use it.
Well, I'm glad you feel guilty, because there's definitely plenty of people like me who would love to use these cameras. You know?
Yeah.
All right, we'll figure this out, and if you do put them up for sale, maybe I'll share them with people watching this. YouTube, what is good? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're talking about this camera right here. This is the Hasselblad 500C. I've been logging after this camera for quite some time, and I finally got my hands on one, and I'm very excited to give this a spin. This is on loan from my friend Scott, who has this great camera collection, and he's looking to get rid of them. So I'm gonna test a couple of these and probably buy one of them as well. So let's talk about why I want this camera. I've been shooting 6x6 format for quite some time now, mostly on TLR cameras, which I love and I will continue to use. However, I find that I want something that's a bit more kind of ergonomically friendly when it comes to portraiture, especially shooting in the studio and stuff like that. And this camera is basically one of the best for that. This camera was created in some intents and purposes for the studio work, and I'm very excited to put this to use in that kind of a setting. So there's a couple things that I really love about this camera that are a bit different from most of the cameras that I've used in the past, especially those 6x6 TLR cameras. So first and foremost is we have these interchangeable backs. So this camera is fully modular, as you probably already know, and one of the best things you can do with that is you can remove the film back. And that's pretty useful for many reasons. I think for me, what I'm gonna do with this is have different film stocks in here. So, you know, first of all, I only have one right now, but I'm probably gonna get another one of these. There I can have a black and white, and I can have a color. And that's something that you can very easily switch between during a dedicated shoot. That's super useful because you don't have to finish the entire roll. You can just kind of switch mid-photo shoot and, you know, tailor your shots to whatever you have in here. You can also do this, you know, with different films that have different speeds. So if you want something that's a bit more fine grain, you know, use your 100 speed or something like that. And maybe you want something a bit more rough, you switch to your 800 speed film that you have in your other film back. So I've never been able to do that with basically any camera I've ever owned, and very excited to give that a shot on this. Before we continue, let's talk about our sponsor for this video, Squarespace. So I actually just got up and running with my Squarespace site, and it was quite painless. There's a couple of things I really like. First off are the blogging features. I really love how quick and easy it is to set up a blog and include photos, videos, links, all of the above. And I think every photographer should set up a blog so they can discuss their images, post them in high res, and just have a way to connect with their potential audience. I also really love the galleries on posts. You can basically upload a bunch of photos in sequence and have them pop up next to each other in a specific way. And you can click through and look at them. It's a really good technique for storytelling, especially with your images. Instead of just posting them one by one, you can put them together in a gallery so that they all have a common theme and interest. Lastly, I'm quite excited about the online stores. I haven't set this up yet, but I'm going to, and my hope here is to sell my prints. All photographers love selling prints, and this is a really cool way to do so in a very personalized, direct way. So make sure to head to Squarespace for a free trial. And if you use my link, squarespace.com/Ribsy, you get 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. So I'm gonna put this back right here, and as you see, modular camera, very easy to remove and put things back on. The other thing I'm really excited about is this waist level viewfinder and the fact that it's removable and switchable. So actually, I'm gonna take the film back off again. That way I can access the viewfinder. So right now I have the waist level viewfinder, which you're all used to seeing, and everything looks amazing through here. I'm gonna do that cliche thing where I take photos from the top down of my camera, showcasing the scene in front of me through the waist level viewfinder. I get it, it's cheesy, but I like it, and I know most of you do too. So the beauty of this is you can remove this entire thing. So I'm gonna close it, and then very easily, it just slides right out. And instead of using this one, I can use this, which is an eye level viewfinder. This is one of the more, I'd say, less featureful versions of this. This is literally just an eyepiece. You hold it up right here, and you can see whatever's reflecting from the focusing screen. This doesn't meter. This doesn't have kind of the split prism thing. This is just a cross, you know, little kind of point in the middle that helps you kind of figure out where you are. But you know, we'll see how this works. I love that I can use this style of camera with this, which is something that I didn't have for a lot of my other TLRs, and therefore it'll be a nice kind of change. But we'll see. I'm used to having the split prism where it really helps you focus as the circles come together. This doesn't have any of that. So hopefully that doesn't take away from the experience and I can still focus very well. But for when I'm outside, walking around in the streets and just kind of hanging out, looking cool with my Hasselblad around my neck, the waist level finder is the one. And it makes the camera very compact. So you slide that right back on there, put your film back on the camera. And I mean, look at this. This is a very small package. You can compare it to the size of my face. If I take this lens hood off, now it's even smaller, as you see right here. So I love how compact and kind of small this is. It packs down very well. It's beautiful with the black and the chrome, but it doesn't feel like a piece of junk. This is made out of solid metal parts. I don't know if it's 100% metal or what, but there's a lot of really good kind of structure in here. And this thing feels robust, especially the main body here and of course the film back. Some of the other things have just a hint of a jiggle and a wiggle, but you know, it is what it is. A lot of these things are removable, so it makes sense. But yeah, this thing feels like a tank, and you know, it just looks really, really good as well. Last thing we're gonna talk about here is this lens. So as you saw, Scott has a bunch of different lenses. I chose to borrow the 80mm 2.8 lens, which is probably the classic one that you find on any Hasselblad if you're buying kind of a package deal online. And this thing's pretty cool for a couple different reasons. Obviously, it's the Zeiss lens, the planar. Everybody wants this lens. This is the older version. It doesn't have the special coatings as far as I'm aware. Doesn't have the T symbol, which I think is what a lot of people love to look for, and that's the one that everybody really, really wants. Doesn't matter to me. This is an antique lens, and I think I'm gonna be able to get the beauty and quality of the Zeiss lens, but with that older character. Whatever that means, we'll find out. The really cool thing about this lens that I've never seen before is that you can pair your aperture to a shutter speed and have that ratio stay on the camera. So if I put here 2.8 and 1/30th of a second, that will stay together no matter how far I spin this. So if you want to keep that ratio of 2.8 to 1/30th of a second, but then maybe you want to switch to f8. When I switch to f8, changes the shutter speed as well at the same exact ratio. So now my shutter speed is 1/8 of a second. So this is really, really useful because if you want to change your either one of those settings for whatever reason, when you're in the studio or outside in the street, you can do so and not have to change both settings. You can change them together. That's extremely useful and speeds things up and also prevents mistakes. So I can't tell you how many times I switch the aperture for whatever reason, and then I forget to switch the shutter speed just because I'm in the moment, moving fast. And then, you know, I get a very overexposed or very underexposed image. Underexposed is obviously even worse. This ratio right here will save me from having that problem. And the other cool thing is, as I'm changing that, I get to see my depth of field preview here. So there's these two red indicators that physically move and get wider as you're getting more and more depth of field. I've never seen that before. Most lenses just kind of have it painted on, so you have to read it and interpret it. Here, it very kind of in your face aggressively tells you what's happening. Of course, at 2.8, your depth of field is very narrow. If you go up to f22, your depth of field is the widest possible depth of field given with this lens. So very, very cool. Never seen this before, but this Hasselblad lens made by Zeiss. This thing's amazing. It looks cool, it feels cool, and yeah, I can't tell you how excited I am to put this to use. Fortunately, I got a shoot coming up this week. I'm gonna photograph one of my homies, and I'm gonna use this camera, and very excited about it. Last thing to mention, I've got this really cool hood for this lens, which just makes it look that much more official. So I'll put this on here, rotate that, and yeah, I mean, it looks cool. If you wear this around your neck and you don't look like a photographer, then you know, nothing can save you at that point, not even a Leica around your neck. But yeah, pumped to use this. I'm curious, anybody have any advice or any experiences with the 500C or the CMs or whichever other Hasselblads you might have used? I'm sticking with this one, and if I really love this, then I'm not even gonna bother trying the other ones because they cost more money, and if it ain't broke, you know, I'm gonna stick with it. All right, y'all, that's today's video. I hope you enjoyed it. Of course, hit me down in the comments as I already mentioned, and if you enjoyed the video, click that like button. All right, y'all, to the next one. I'm out.